Welcome to Candid Conversations, where we explore the transformative power of technology and its impact on businesses and individuals worldwide. I'm Jennifer George, correspondent at Fast Company Middle East, and this episode is brought to you by Reddington. With AI-powered PCs entering the market, we're having this specially curated podcast today to speak to two gentlemen who are at the core of building the technologies for these AI PCs. We're delighted to have Taha Khalifa, General Manager for the Middle East and Africa at Intel. With a wealth of experience in driving technology adoption across the region, Taha is here to share his insights on AI-powered PCs and how Intel is enabling businesses to harness AI for productivity, efficiency, and security. Joining him is Ronan Smyth, the Director of Device Partner at GTM for SEMA at Microsoft. Ronan brings expertise in helping organizations leverage the full potential of Windows 11 Pro and cloud technologies. Taha, let's start with you. Intel has been at the forefront of AI-powered technologies. Can you share your perspective on the increasing demand for AI-enabled PCs, especially in the business context?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to have the discussion. And it's on a very important topic, I think, very highlighted topic, which is the topic of AI. It's on the heart and mind of all the technology companies and of all of the enterprises, given the transformative power of AI. So I wanted to start with just like giving you some ideas about the impact of AI on many areas. So on GDP, in a country like UAE, it's expected to contribute around 14% of the GDP by 2030. This would translate to around $100 billion. So that gives you an idea of the impact of the GDP. The spending on generative AI is expected to be $300 billion by 2026. We expect that by 2026, 80% of the enterprise will be using some sort of generative AI. And as you mentioned, it's to focus on increasing productivity, reduce operational cost, and many areas of the performance of the company. So that's why at Intel, we have a strategy called AI Everywhere, which we believe that will position the AI for Intel to provide building blocks for AI from the PC, client, to the edge, to the data center and the cloud. So we are at the forefront in defining and working on this AI PC. So the idea of the AI PC is that it has additional processing units to enable workloads, AI workloads, to work efficiently on that. The increase and expectation of increase of the AI PC is quite significant. We expect by the end of the year to be shipping around 40 million AI PC. By the end of next year, it's expected to be 100 million PC. By 2028, 80% of PCs worldwide are expected to be AI PCs. So that gives you an idea of the acceleration of the AI PC. So what is an AI PC? It's a PC that has a combination of an NPU, which is the neural processing unit, the CPU, which is the standard, and the GPU. And it's enabled to basically work and have enable some AI workloads. It will also support, of course, we've been partnering with Microsoft on co-pilots and enabling co-pilots on the AI PC, given that this is one of the key usage models that is enabled by AI PC. So it's a very exciting era where we see the transformative power of AI now coming to increase productivity, security, content creation, gaming, collaboration on the PC itself. So that's kind of a nutshell the direction and the trajectory that we see that the AI PC is driving.
It's very interesting that you've focused a lot on the security, productivity, and efficiency components of the AI PC. And I think that is something that really makes this very large, almost complex concept accessible to most people who might not understand that they're using an AI powered PC, but it might just be. And the statistics that you've shared with us that really shows that we're moving very closely towards a world that will be almost entirely AI powered, not just our PCs. But could you add some specifics on the AI workloads that businesses are focusing on?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it's not about the technology, it's about the usage models that are used in the enterprise and in the companies to increase all of these areas of productivity, reduce operational cost, get to more customers, all of these areas that the enterprise is focused on. So we see a lot of workloads that are targeted for the AI PC. So let me first just take you through an example of what's happening. We started with all of these large language models. So these large language models now, they're maybe in the tens or hundreds of large language models worldwide. These are big ones. They require lots of training, etc., etc. Now the world is moving is to fine tuning some pre-trained models with your enterprise data and using smaller models that are more domain specific. So it can be in the dentistry, it can be more of the banking sector. And these smaller language model can run on your PC. And in this case, the usage of PCs and to take advantage of these pre-trained use large language models that are kind of enhanced with your local data is going to be quite significant. So enabling this usage model is very important, and this is a workload that we see increasing demand for. And it's called like RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation, as something that the enterprise is running, and it will be running on that. One area that I wanted to kind of, and you called out, is security. So cybersecurity, again, is something that is very critical. And I think we know that the impact of cybersecurity, it's estimated to be around $10.5 trillion per year. That's the impact of cybercrime on global economy, businesses, people, all of that. So it's very important that we look at that. That's why at Intel we have a vPro technology where we provide building blocks that Microsoft is using to enhance the security of the device. And I'll give you a very interesting point that we see that existing PCs that we just introduced with Microsoft have 70% less attack surface for cybercrime than 4-year-old PCs. So,
But that's fairly recent.
this is a very recent study that we have done, which translates to almost 58% less incidents of breaches, of security breaches. This is huge to the enterprise. If we know that the cost of a breach on average is around $8 to $9 million, and that 60% of the SMEs that they have security breach fail to or file for bankruptcy within a year and a half due to the impact that it does. So having a reduction of around 58% of these incidents is quite huge and quite significant. We are using AI as part of identifying threats, even if they don't have an existing signature. So deep learning type of technology is being used in the hardware to identify these attacks and enabling the operating system and enabling the software security to identify these attacks and detect them. So this is an example of AI usage in security, which we think is very transformative.
I think that's a very multifaceted framework that Intel has in place, especially from an innovation standpoint, because a lot of these statistics, they demonstrate that, especially when it comes to concerns like cybersecurity, they're only going to rise. The more data we have exposed, the threats are only going to increase. So it's very interesting that you've brought this up. Ronan, tell me, is an AI PC arguably smarter? Well, we know that it's definitely faster, but is it smarter than the PCs that preceded it? Because there's a lot of talk about compute, but there's very little talk about intelligence.
Well, I think AI, artificial intelligence, by its name, is of course smarter. But it doesn't mean that AI will do away with human beings. The way in which Microsoft and the industry sees AI is that it's like an assistant to make users more effective in what we do. And essentially that means, the promise of technology is that it should enable us all to be more productive. And the reality is that as we got more productive, we got busier. All the technology around us has made us busier. We're always on 24/7. It's too much. And particularly as we start at the dawn of a new era, there's so much possibilities, but there's so many questions, and there's so many dead ends that people run down that you have to find a way to have an assistant to help you. So having an assistant that can help you do the mundane, the boring, repetitive tasks that you do every day, like I must create a presentation, at the last minute, and kind of thinking, oh, I need an hour to kind of even start that conversation. But if you can actually pull together a bare bones idea and then ask Copilot to go away and create me a deck, then it can create you a deck that gets you to about 85% complete. Then all you need is 15 minutes to top and tail that. So saving you time that you can then use that time to actually focus on more high-end, more impactful activities for you and for your business. Things that human beings can bring more creativity. Today, AI can't replace human beings. We see things, we read people's bodies, we see what's happening. And so today, AI is making us more intelligent because it's taking away the mundane tasks. But as we move forward, AI will become more powerful, whether it's in the cloud or on AI. You kind of have to look at AI as a spectrum from the edge to the cloud. And so the mixture of what happens on an AI PC and what you see in a cloud will be blurred over time. And this will definitely make us all very much more productive.
Yeah, and I would like to add an example here that kind of reinforces that I had a speech to make just like last week, and I just went to ChatGPT and I said, this is the speech that I want. And it really spelled out a great framework for the speech. All I needed to do is to just basically add some comments, examples to supplement that. And it really saves time. So it's not the PC that is smart. It's going to be the tools, the applications, and we're just starting to scratch the surface. This is...
Even to add to that, ChatGPT is a web version.
That's true, yes.
And so everything you do or you ask ChatGPT, the whole world can see it. It's used to train the models. Now, what Microsoft did very early on was created Copilot Chat, which is built into all of our tools. And that actually uses your own business data. And nobody else can see that data. Microsoft has no visibility, no eyes on your data. Your data is your data. It's always protected. But it enables you to actually look through not just the web, but also through emails, Teams chats, PowerPoints, SharePoints, all the data that's available in all of your companies, and pull it all together to give you a distinct and quick answer for what you need. And again, the beauty of it is the answer you get is not helping your competitors see your data. It's helping you be more competitive. In fact, companies that embrace AI early will see massive gains versus their competitors. And so it's important that companies start thinking about already, how do I integrate this? How do I get ahead of my competition? Because 6 months without AI versus somebody using AI is a huge amount of time.
Right. I think there's one thing that's really going off in my head, and I'm dying to ask both of you this, is that AI adoption is something that enterprises across the globe are talking about and are moving towards. But these are in physical office spaces. What about hybrid work models or remote work models? They're becoming more prevalent. How are AI PCs helping businesses adapt and maintain productivity, collaboration, and security across diverse work environments? Taha, if you could probably
Yeah, I believe that it's one of the advantages of using AI, that it can give you tools to increase the collaboration and security. So that there are some use cases where things like changing the background, basically blurring the background, taking out any background noises. Again, security inside and outside of the corporate, of the firewalls. All of these applications with AI can help doing that. I know that there are a lot of applications now that looking into how to make these team collaboration more effective, creating avatars, for example, that can represent you in the call and drive that. A lot of tools to help summarizing some of the discussions, some of the Teams discussion. I think Teams is, and I know Ronan is going to go through a lot of these, but I can tell from just like a generic example is that it's able to summarize the meeting, highlight all of the activities that are in the meetings, tracking the action items, and again, as Ronan was indicating, all of these standard, typical usages that can be done are done to make you focus on being more productive, more innovative, and working on, I would say, higher levels of issues.
Yeah, I think hybrid is a very interesting topic, right? And it kind of came around because of COVID.
That's true,
And
yes.
it was during COVID when Microsoft engineers were designing how to build Windows 11. So it was built with hybrid in mind.
Right.
And what came on since, of course, with the Microsoft's work with OpenAI and so forth, and the investments there, has that kind of opened up and sped up the evolution of AI in the PC. But I think just to add to the points, I mean, when you're working from home, when you're working from different locations,
Right.
you're probably not as secure as you think you are. And a lot of the threats that happen are caused by human error. And a lot of times when you look at PCs, we have security features, but they aren't turned on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Windows 11, all these security features are turned on from day
Why
one.
is that? That's very interesting. I did not know that.
In the past, there are certain features that companies would want to use or not use. It's their choice.
Right.
But I think it's clearly kind of touching on security here, because I think that's probably the big topic. Ultimately, security and AI go hand in hand. I also, one of my favorite features with AI and Windows 11 around collaboration and Teams meetings is really the ability to be reading notes potentially, or reading presentations, or looking at Excel sheets, but still have your eyes making contact with the people you're addressing.
Oh, that's spooky.
It's really
They're
nice.
really effective.
It's really nice, right? I think that's my favorite. But I think also, as Taha alluded to, I think I've been using Teams and Copilot every single day since the last year and a half. And this, to me, is my favorite service that M365 Copilot has. To be able to record a call, and 10 minutes before it ends, to be able to see what the actions are. So me, as a person who's leading that meeting, can actually remind people what the actions are and who owns that action and when it's due. To be able to record a call and then be able to skip directly to a part of the video where I want to see that person answering that particular question is groundbreaking.
That's true.
To be able to, as you go and meet with a customer, to be able to understand what was the last interaction, what's the latest status on the engagement with this customer, to make sure that you have the latest going in and that you know that we're actually going to build on what we've said before. We don't want to repeat what we said before. These are great tools for salespeople as they engage with partners and customers around the world.
I'm very curious, how does Intel see AI-powered PCs evolving for enterprises in the next 3 to 5 years? And what innovations do you think will support these businesses as they attempt to scale up?
Yeah, so I think, it's as we go through, the first couple of years that we're going through right now of AI PC, as we go forward, of course, Intel will be working on increasing. One other area is that we need to make sure that we are enabling the industry to use and to be creative and create usage models and applications that take benefits of these new resources that are enabled. So the NPU is a new resource now. So we need to make sure that the industry starts using this resource in the way that it should be, whether for back end type of applications, AI workloads, etc., to make sure that the industry is moving forward towards that. Is going to be primarily on usage model basis. As I mentioned, and Ronan mentioned a lot about this, we see that using your personal data on pre-trained model to give you the most accurate information that is relating to you, not the public type of information. We see this usage model is going to be very critical to the enterprise specifically. Content creation. So we saw all of these creativity now from, you write a text and AI will start create a picture for you. So all of these usage models, we see the evolution of these usage models because you will have enough powerhouse and enough tools coming from both Intel and Microsoft for the developers to be able to utilize this to build these new innovative type of solution. Security is also evolving. As I mentioned, just the last release of our product is 70% less attack surface than previous 4-year-old PC. And as Ronan was saying, it's interesting. Windows 10 was 10 years ago, so you can imagine a 10-year-old PC. It's just like I cannot imagine. I'll give you something very interesting as well. Is that just in the Middle East, Turkey, and Africa, we have around 31 million PCs that are more than 4 years old. So this is a great opportunity for us to drive the both, and this is between the consumer and the commercial, to drive this industry towards this new kind of usage model, new tools that will enable them to become more productive and more secure.
If I understand correctly, then the MENA region is very fertile breeding ground for enterprise-grade AI and for AI-powered hardware in the form of PCs, as we've discussed today. I would like to drift back to a point that you had made earlier about fine-tuned domain-specific AI models. What do they look like in the Middle East, Turkey, and Africa? What are some of the use cases that you've observed?
I wouldn't say so far that there are very specific per region, but we see this model is building up. Again, we're at the beginning of this, but we see that and an example of that, how Microsoft will use and Copilot will use this local data. But we see that these smaller models on your PC that use your localized data will enable you to do all of these activities in a more efficient way. Is there something specific in the MENA region? I think it's just the standard usage model, whether it's on the consumer side, content creation, productivity, and on the enterprise, it's just collaboration and productivity and security. It just goes without saying. It's just that the fact that we have an opportunity to drive these new usage models with the AI PCs.
Right. Yeah. So real early days then.
Yeah.
Ronan, as Microsoft moves towards the end of support for Windows 10, can you explain why businesses should prioritize upgrading to Windows 11 Pro now, especially regarding security and productivity features? Also, some of the significant benefits that Copilot brings to Windows 11 users.
Yeah. It's a great question, right? I think I could spend a whole hour and a half on this, right? No problem. And Taha mentioned a lot already. I thank Taha for mentioning end of support. So what is end of support? I would assume that most people are aware of end of support, maybe not the date. The date is the 14th of October, 2025. Mm-hmm. That's about 329 days from today, from recording this podcast right now. That's not a lot of time. As an enterprise can take up to a year and a half to move all their fleet across to a new OS. So already the enterprise who haven't decided to move are probably behind.
Right.
And are probably at risk of not having the full fleet across in time. What does end of support mean? It means that Microsoft will stop providing security and feature updates. Okay. Now, we obviously do provide options
Sounds a lot like Doomsday.
Yeah, it's not. So we do provide options for customers who have legitimate reasons for not being able to get all their fleet across in time. We know that people have that businesses have budgetary constraints. We know the world's evolving right now. We know that we in this part of the world are dealing with some geopolitical issues. So we have provided options, and some of the options are what we call extended security updates and ESU. And so these are available to customers who are currently running Windows 10 and will not be ready in time. But there's a cost to that. And the cost of that is basically $61 per year, increasing each year, doubling each year to a maximum of $240 by the third year. Now, you must also remember that even though you can do that because you might need the time, that's understandable, you will not get any feature updates. So you're just simply getting the basics to keep you secure in a world that is evolving, as we mentioned earlier, quite a lot. And you know, when our engineers were developing and imagining what Windows 11 would be, they made some difficult decisions. And one of the difficult decisions was, how do we make these PCs more secure? How do we raise the minimum bar, the specifications, so that we can actually lock down these PCs a lot more than we have been in the past? And like I mentioned earlier, this is going to be turned on out of the box. And so one of the main things was this security chip called TPM 2.0, was very important. So many of the old PCs running Windows 10 do not have this, which means that they cannot run Windows 11. So you need to have new hardware to run Windows 11 and be secure. And when we were doing our research around what are the customer needs as we develop Windows 11, I mean, it's pretty clear, and I'm sure Taha could probably say the same. It's really around what are the needs of the employees today. Obviously, they're getting younger than me and Taha, right? And so they have different needs. You have security needs, we've discussed already. We're embracing AI. And also, it's really around, is my device stable? All right. And so all of these things are something that's very important. And when you look back at where we've been 10 years ago, I'm going to quote some numbers here, which I have, which are around the amount of attacks. Essentially, phishing emails. On average, it takes around 1 hour and 12 minutes to get access to your personal data once you are actually kind of in trouble. The global scale that we see right now, we're seeing a 10x increase in password attacks from 3 billion to 30 billion. I mean, these are big numbers, right?
Those are big numbers and very worrying numbers.
And this is over a very short period. The number of organized attacks, as I said earlier, has grown from 200 last year to 300 this year. These are organized, well-funded organizations, right? And no company, no matter how big you are, is secure. Right, so you need to make sure that you are protecting everything.
And by the way, AI is adding to the complexity because some of these cybersecurity crime organizations, they use actually AI to organize these attacks and to make them look like very legitimate, whether it's email.
So it's AI fighting against AI.
Exactly.
Essentially it.
Exactly
It, right? Yeah. And it's interesting because, Microsoft publishes a security report every year. We call it the Digital Defense Report. And it shows our global footprint when it comes to fighting. And we share these insights and signals with many companies, many enterprises, and many governments to help be protected. The endpoint can be a risk. And this is why moving from Windows 10 to Windows 11 is so critically important.
It really is the need of the hour then.
It really is, right? And I think ultimately what Windows 11 gives you in how we're working with Intel and our partners in terms of improving productivity, tighter security. And tighter security means, I said earlier, turned on from default. And our posture really is a chip to cloud security posture. But from a hardware point of view, what we do with Intel is so important. And we're adding things like TPM 2.0, that's standard out of the box. We've also brought in Microsoft Pluton. We're bringing in lots of layers of protection for secure boot, virtualization-based security, hypervisor protected code integrity, and this is all defaulted now in Windows 11. Of course, we have biometrics for signing on with Windows Hello. And also, Windows quite cleverly now will check if you walk away from your PC. It'll know you're not there and will lock your PC for you. And when you come back, it will know you're back and it will open it for you.
And this is AI powered.
This is AI powered. And also smart app control. Again, this has been built in, which basically means that there's certain applications that will not be allowed to run. Just won't let them run. Simple as that. In addition, Windows 11, it's built on the same kernel as Windows 10. So when IT managers out there worrying about moving to Windows 11 should not really be nervous. It's the same kernel. It's the same tools they've been using in the past. And now we built in some extra tools to make the deployment from Windows 10 to Windows 11 much faster. Things like autopilot, whereas in the past, configuring a PC could take you an hour and a half, it now takes a couple of minutes. So when a new employee receives a new PC, he puts in his username, password, and immediately everything comes down from the cloud to his PC, just like magic, which is fantastic.
It is quite literally like magic.
And of course, this all means that you have fewer help desk issues, which is also a plus. And one of the other areas we hear in terms of customers really trying to understand what is the cost, what is the risk if I don't make the move to Windows 10? And so Forrester Consulting have done some great work around the kind of ROI, or return on investment calculator, where a customer can put in its own personal details, the cost it has, the amount of PCs it wants to try and migrate before and after, and can see the additional costs. And this is a great kind of simple 2-page that a CFO can see and go, oh yeah, if I don't move, it's actually going to cost me more money.
Right. Ronan, tell me, how do you see AI's role in shaping the future of work in the region specifically? And how is Microsoft positioning itself to support this transition?
It's a good question. I think we kind of touched on many of these points as we talked
true,
earlier,
yes.
right? So I won't belabor the points, but I think there's a key point. When we think about AI, it is a spectrum, right? It clearly is a spectrum from the edge to the cloud. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the cloud here today with Taha. I want to focus on the edge. And I think, again, in the edge, we have done a lot of work around enabling existing PCs. So if you think about even Windows 10 devices today, they can get access to AI using
That's true.
Copilot. Okay, and then you have Windows 11 devices that actually have an NPU that Taha mentioned earlier. They can then do more things. They can create applications. And then we have a new breed of PCs that we're working with Intel on called Copilot Plus PCs, which I mentioned, SLMs included, 40 TOPS, a lot of power to go out and create those applications. And so we see options for customers around what type of PC I want to use. Not everybody's going to need a top-of-the-range Copilot Plus PC today. I think in the future, as Taha mentioned, they will. But right now, you've got to make decisions. So which people would benefit most from having the top-of-the-range Copilot Plus PC from Microsoft and Intel, working with our OEM partners, Dell, HP, Lenovo. But others would be happy to go from a Windows 10 to a normal Windows 11 device. And so it's important that we give customers the options to go and do that. But when you think about the benefits of having a Copilot Plus PC, is that, like you mentioned earlier, it's just faster. I mean, you get things done quicker, right? It's important for all of us to get it done. I can have some time off. It is the most power efficient PCs around. Again, talk about sustainability, being able to be on all day unplugged. It's just amazing. You just feel free from the mains. So there's a lot of things going on. Of course, it supercharges insights, like Taha mentioned earlier, the ability to use AI as an assistant to go and find information. I mean, in the past, searching for things which seem so obvious takes so long, particularly if you're creating lots of content or you're seeing lots of content from your colleagues. You go back and, what was the name of that presentation? Just to put in even what the presentation was about, as opposed to the title, can help you find that presentation much quicker. This is very important. We talked about the ability to summarize or rewrite. I mean, Satya talks about the fact that now when he sees a long PDF, it's like he's having an interaction with the author. He's able to ask that PDF questions and go, what did the author say about this and this? Yep. So this really helps you get into the nut. Instead of spending all day reading these long, big PDFs, you get into exactly which part of the PDF is relevant to what you want, which is fantastic. Searching, of course, that's important for you as well. I mean, again, AI is kind of integrated into Windows 11 today. in ways that probably most people don't even recognize. Okay, so you talked about AI-powered recommendations. So if I'm working on something, it actually knows what I'm working on. And then when I go to try and find the document, it says, oh, this document could be interesting. Oh, thank you. That's very helpful. So, it's a bit like Spotify
Yes.
when you want
That's
to,
right, yeah.
it's very useful. Again, everything Microsoft does is really about making sure that everybody in the world is able to see a benefit of AI. So we build all these accessibility tools into AI, captions and so forth, and make sure we move content around to make sure that people can see it and hear it. We've built in live captions where even on meetings, if I'm speaking to somebody in France or Germany or Japan, as I speak in English, they hear it in their language
In real time.
in real time. Right, there's over 40 languages that can be done in real time today, which is a groundbreaker, particularly if you're in a hybrid world or you're in a big organization, to be able to work with people with different languages. It's silly that languages should still be a barrier in today's modern world. So a lot of huge things we can do, and of course we know that when people start to work with AI, that they love it. Early feedback is clear. 70% of people who've used Copilot are like, okay, I can't give it up. Once you've had it, you just can't go back. You want more, right? And so it really is a groundbreaking moment for the world and for particularly folks who are trying to create content, trying to produce content. This really makes things much more effective.
Taha, can you tell us a little bit more about Reboot 2025, the initiative launched by Reddington for channel partners across the Middle East and Africa?
So this is exactly kind of one of these campaigns that is looking into the dynamics of the market and partnering with Intel and Microsoft to use these dynamics. So as I mentioned, that there is around 31 million PCs that are more than 4 years old. 9 million of those are in the SMB segment. So you can imagine the SMB segments, again, having these devices with security features turned off. They will be faced with some challenges. So how we reach to this market, educate them on AI PC, Intel vPro technologies, and Microsoft Windows 10 and Windows 11 and Windows 11 Pro, so that they understand the options. We work together to reach to more partners, educate them, basically showcase kind of the solutions, and reach out to them so that we can accelerate this refresh cycle. We believe that this refresh is going to be driving the market this year, this quarter, and in the next year as well. And as Ronan was referring to, it takes this amount of time, more than 300 days for a reasonable enterprise to upgrade. So if they have not started now, they are late already. So
Right.
we're basically given this education and the market, reaching out to more partners, giving them all of these information so that they can make the decision and to accelerate this refresh.
I think that's a very valuable point, and I think it really does tie in this entire conversation very appropriately, because we've touched on the world and then we've come down to very region-centric needs, requirements, trends. And if I understand correctly, what AI-powered PCs are going to do for the next couple of years in our AI revolution is really just supercharge any and all tasks. It's going to supercharge your security. It's going to supercharge your productivity. And essentially, by giving you these two very essential aspects in life, covering them for you in your digital presence online, I think as people, we will have a lot more time on our hands.
Hopefully we use it right.
We will.
Really, the future is there for those who are ready to take it. And I think the younger you are, the brighter the future.
That's true. We do. We have a very long road to travel down. But I think with the way that Microsoft and Intel are treating this experience and the exercise of innovating in real time, I think we are standing on the precipice of something great.
We are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Taha and Ronan, for sharing your views. It's clear that Microsoft and Intel are enabling businesses to adopt AI and shape the future of work and innovation. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe to Candid Conversations for more episodes exploring the transformative power of technology and innovation. Until next time, stay curious.